When billionaire tech CEO Marcus Steele pulled up to that red light on a rainy Tuesday morning, he had no idea he was about to witness something that would shatter his world and change 3 lives forever. What he saw through his Bentley window wasn't just 2 4-year-old twins selling toys on the sidewalk. It was pure desperation wrapped in the most heartbreaking display of love he'd ever witnessed. 4-year-old Emma clutched a ragged teddy bear to her chest, while her twin brother Jake held up a sign that read, "Help Mommy," in crayon letters. The rain was soaking through their thin jackets, but they didn't move. They just stood there, 2 tiny figures against the storm, trying to save the most important person in their world. Marcus had built a $2 billion empire from nothing. He'd seen poverty, he'd lived it, but something about these twins hit different. Maybe it was the way Emma kept wiping Jake's nose with her sleeve, or how Jake kept repositioning their cardboard sign every time the wind knocked it over. These weren't just kids playing store. These were children fighting for their mother's life. He rolled down his window. "Hey there," he called out, his voice barely audible over the rain. "What are you 2 doing out here?" Emma stepped forward, still clutching that bear. "We're selling our toys, mister. Mommy needs medicine money." Her voice was so small, so innocent, yet carried the weight of an adult's responsibility. Jake nodded vigorously, holding up a toy truck with 1 wheel missing. "This truck is really fast. Only $5. Mommy says we need lots of money for the doctors." Before I move deeper into this story, I want you to tell me where you're watching from in the comments. And make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here and enjoy interesting stories like this. Marcus felt something crack inside his chest. He'd just come from a board meeting where they discussed quarterly profits in the hundreds of millions, and here were 2 babies trying to raise money $5 at a time. "Where's your mommy now?" he asked, pulling his car closer to the curb. "She's sleeping at the big white building with the crosses," Emma replied, pointing down the street toward the hospital. "The nice ladies are take care of her, but they need money to make her better." That's when Marcus saw it. Taped to their cardboard sign was a hospital bracelet with the name Sarah Chun, and below it, in a child's handwriting, "Our mommy is the bestest. Please help." He got out of his car, not caring about the rain soaking his $5,000 suit. "Tell me about your mommy." Jake's eyes lit up. "She makes the best pancakes in the whole world. And she reads us stories every night, even when she's really tired. She works 3 jobs to take care of us, but then she got really sick and the doctor said she needs special medicine." Emma nodded, tears mixing with raindrops on her cheeks. "Mommy didn't want us to come here, but we heard her crying on the phone about money. She doesn't know we took our toys. We just want her to come home." Marcus knelt down to their level, his heart breaking with every word. "How long has your mommy been in the hospital?" 2 weeks, Emma whispered. "The nice lady next door watches us, but we miss Mommy so much. She always smells like vanilla and gives the best hugs. And she sings to us when we're scared," Jake added, his lower lip trembling. "But now we sing to her picture every night." This hit Marcus like a freight train. He thought about his own mother, who'd worked 3 jobs just like Sarah. She died when he was 12, and he'd never forgotten the sound of her crying over bills she couldn't pay. He'd sworn then that he'd never let anyone suffer like that if he had the power to help. "What kind of toys do you have?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. Emma opened their little suitcase. Inside were their most precious possessions: a few dolls with tangled hair, some toy cars, a coloring book with half the pages used, building blocks, and that teddy bear she kept clutching. "This is Mr. Buttons," she said, holding up the bear. "He keeps the monsters away at night. But if someone buys him, maybe they need him more than me." Jake held up a wooden puzzle with 2 pieces missing. "Mommy got this for us for Christmas. It's really fun, I promise. And this book has lots of pretty pictures." Marcus looked at these 2 children, willing to sell everything they loved for their mother. In that moment, he made a decision that would change everything. But he had to be smart about it. He couldn't just throw money at them. Their mother might be too proud to accept charity, and he needed to make this feel right for everyone. "You know what?" he said, reaching into his wallet. "I think I need all of these toys. My office is really boring, and these would make it much better. How much for everything?" Emma and Jake looked at each other with wide eyes. They'd been hoping to make maybe $50 total if they were really lucky. We were thinking maybe $30 for everything, Jake said hesitantly. Marcus nodded seriously. That seems fair, but I have a problem. I only have big bills with me right now. Would you accept $1,000? And maybe you could give me change later? The twins stared at the crisp bills in disbelief. They'd never seen so much money in their lives. Mister, are you sure? Emma whispered. That's a lot of money. I'm very sure, Marcus replied. But I have one more request. I'd like to meet your mommy. Would that be okay? 20 minutes later, Marcus followed the twins through the hospital corridors, still carrying their suitcase of toys. They'd insisted he needed to carry his purchases properly. The pediatric wing was bustling with activity, but room 237 was quiet when they approached. Through the window, Marcus saw a young woman who couldn't have been older than 28, hooked up to various machines. Even in her weakened state, Sarah Chun was beautiful, but it was a kind of beauty that comes from strength, not privilege. Her dark hair was spread across the pillow, and her face, though pale, held an undeniable grace. Mommy! Emma burst through the door, Jake right behind her. Sarah's eyes fluttered open, and her entire face transformed when she saw her children. My babies, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be with Mrs. Martinez. We brought someone to meet you, Jake announced proudly. We sold all our toys. Sarah's eyes found Marcus standing in the doorway, and he could see her trying to piece together what was happening. He could also see the moment she realized what her children had done. The shock, the pride, the heartbreak, and the love all crashed together in her expression. Hi, Sarah, Marcus said gently, stepping forward. I'm Marcus. Your children are pretty incredible salespeople. Sarah tried to sit up straighter, her mother's instinct to protect and provide kicking in even in her weakened state. I'm so sorry if they bothered you. They shouldn't have been out there alone. They didn't bother me at all, Marcus assured her. They told me about their mommy who makes the best pancakes and reads bedtime stories. They love you very much. Tears started flowing down Sarah's cheeks. I've tried so hard to give them everything they need. I work 3 jobs, but when I got diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, everything fell apart. The treatments, the hospital bills, having to miss work. I don't know how I'm going to pay for any of this. Emma climbed carefully onto the bed, snuggling into her mother's side. Don't worry, Mommy. We're good at selling toys. We can sell more. No, sweetheart, Sarah whispered, stroking Emma's hair. You shouldn't have to worry about grown-up things like money. That's Mommy's job. Jake crawled up on the other side of the bed. But we want to help. We're a team, remember? Marcus watched this family, and he saw himself at 12 years old, helplessly watching his mother fade away because they couldn't afford proper treatment. But this time, he had the power to change the ending. Sarah, he said, pulling up a chair, I want to tell you something about your children. In 15 years of business, I've never met anyone with more determination, more love, or more courage than Emma and Jake. They were willing to sell their most precious possessions for you. Sarah nodded, unable to speak through her tears. I've been looking for people with exactly those qualities to help me with something very important, Marcus continued. You see, I run a foundation that helps families facing medical crises, but I've been struggling to find the right people to help me understand what families really need. I think your children might be exactly who I've been looking for. He reached into his jacket and pulled out his business card. My name is Marcus Steele, and I'd like to offer Emma and Jake consulting positions with my foundation. The salary for their advice and insights would be enough to cover all of your medical expenses, plus living costs while you recover. Sarah stared at the card, then at Marcus. You're Marcus Steele? The Marcus Steele from Steele Technologies. The very one. And I'm completely serious about this offer. Your children have already taught me more about love, sacrifice, and determination in 1 hour than most adults teach me in a year. Emma looked up at Marcus with those big, innocent eyes. Does this mean Mommy can come home? It means Mommy can get the best treatment available, and you'll never have to worry about money for doctors again, Marcus replied. Sarah was sobbing now, clutching her children. I don't understand. Why would you do this for us? Marcus was quiet for a moment, thinking about his mother, about the scared 12-year-old boy he used to be, about the promise he'd made to himself so many years ago. Because 30 years ago, I was Jake's age when my mother got sick. We couldn't afford treatment, and I lost her. I swore that if I ever had the power to help, I would never let another child go through what I went through. Your children reminded me why I built everything I have. 6 months later, Marcus stood in the same hospital room, but everything had changed. Sarah was sitting up in bed, her color restored, her hair growing back. The treatment had been successful, and she was preparing to go home in just a few days. Emma and Jake were playing with new toys, not because they'd sold their old ones out of desperation, but because they were kids who deserved to have toys. Mr. Button sat proudly on the windowsill, no longer needed to keep monsters away, because there were no monsters left to fight. Uncle Marcus. Jake called out, running to hug his legs. That's what they called him now, and it never failed to make his heart swell. Hey there, buddy. How's your mommy doing today? She's really good. The doctor said she can come home on Friday, and we're going to make pancakes. Emma announced, bouncing with excitement. Sarah smiled at Marcus, and it was radiant. The doctors say I'm in complete remission. I get to go back to being just a mom again, not a patient. That's the best news I've heard all year, Marcus replied, and he meant it. Have you thought about the job offer we discussed? A few weeks earlier, Marcus had offered Sarah a position managing family services at his foundation. She'd hesitated, not sure she was qualified, but he knew she was exactly what they needed. I'd love to accept, Sarah said. I want to help other families the way you helped us. No parent should have to watch their children sell toys to pay for medicine. And no child should grow up without their parent, Marcus added, thinking of his mother. As he prepared to leave that day, Emma tugged on his sleeve. Uncle Marcus, can I tell you a secret? He knelt down. Of course. I knew you were going to help us, she whispered. When I saw you in that big car, you looked sad like us. But then you smiled at us, and I knew you had a good heart. Marcus felt tears in his eyes. How did you know that? Because Mommy always says you can tell everything about a person by how they look at kids. And you looked at us like we mattered. That night, Marcus sat in his penthouse office, looking out at the city lights. On his desk sat Mr. Buttons, Emma's teddy bear. She'd given it to him as a thank you gift, saying he needed something to keep the monsters away, too. For the first time in 30 years, Marcus Steele felt like that scared little boy had finally found peace. He'd built an empire, but these two 4-year-olds had taught him what true wealth really meant. The Saracen Family Foundation was established 6 months later, providing emergency medical assistance to families in crisis. Emma and Jake remained official consultants, their job being to help other kids feel less scared when their parents got sick. And every Friday, without fail, Marcus Steele could be found in a modest apartment across town, eating pancakes with the family that had changed his life forever, the family that had shown him that sometimes the smallest people carry the biggest hearts. Because sometimes, when you think you're saving someone else, you're really saving yourself. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from around the world. And if this story touched your heart the way it touched mine, hit that subscribe button, because we got so many more incredible true stories coming your way that will restore your faith in humanity.